Coming up on OU Nightly, another hard freeze is on the way for Oklahoma with the chance of wintry precip. We'll break it down.
And the urgent search for victims following the bridge collapse is ongoing in Baltimore, what investigators are saying. Plus, the Supreme Court hears arguments on whether to keep or ban an abortion pill, what we know so far. This is OU Nightly.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Emily Faith.
And I'm Noah Mack. We begin tonight with some chilly temperatures.
Your campus weather authority is tracking a system that will send us down to around freezing tonight. Let's get the latest from OU Nightly meteorologist Sam Patterson.
On Sunday night, we finished off our spring break with a little bit of spring weather, so it only seems fitting to get a little bit of winter weather here. Overnight lows here in Norman, 32 degrees across the state. Similar, Guyman, 14 degrees. And the National Weather Service in Tulsa has already issued a freeze warning for tonight. We're still waiting to see whether or not NWS Norman will issue one. We will let you know as soon as they do. Now, coming up, we'll talk about that hard freeze, a chance of wintry precip tonight, and just how warm will we get for your Easter weekend. All that and more coming up.
Thanks, Sam. Now the latest on a breaking story we've been following all day. Investigators are still searching for 6 construction workers who were on the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore when it collapsed today. It happened when a cargo ship hit the bridge early this morning. CNN's Michael Yoshida has the story.
To hear the words that the Key Bridge has collapsed, it's shocking and heartbreaking.
The sight of a massive cargo ship twisted in the remains of this major Baltimore travel artery surreal. Local, state, and federal emergency response teams have been working the scene by air, by boat, and using dive teams, looking for vehicles and any victims. For now, preliminary findings point to an accident, say investigators.
There is no specific or credible information to suggest that there are ties to terrorism in this incident.
A mayday call from the ship's crew just before 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time gave officials critical minutes to warn motorists heading towards the bridge.
Many of the vehicles were stopped before they got onto the bridge, which saved lives in a very, very heroic way.
Initial reports from the Coast Guard indicate that a harbor pilot and assistant were on board.
Maritime and Port Authority officials in Singapore, where the cargo ship is registered, confirmed that the vessel, Dolly, temporarily lost propulsion and dropped anchor as an emergency measure prior to the crash. The vessel's lights were seen flickering, then going out completely before it hit one of the bridge's key support pillars. While assessing the human toll remains the priority for response agencies, there's also a devastating impact to the region's economy.
We're one of 4 deep water ports that can handle the larger Panamax ships. We have a cruise terminal. So, getting through this is going to be really hard.
The ship called Dolly is chartered by Danish shipping giant Maersk, and the company says it is now dropping Baltimore as a port for all services in the foreseeable future.
Well, the Supreme Court justices heard arguments today in a case that could ban a major abortion pill across the nation. OU Nightly's Brooke Griggs has the takeaways from today's hearing and other national and international headlines from the News Center.
CNN reports the Supreme Court seems likely to reject the idea of putting a ban on mifepristone, the primary drug used for medical abortions. The case for banning the drug is the first abortion-related hearing since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. Advocates from both pro-life and pro-choice groups have been marching outside the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. A decision is expected by July. A gag order has been imposed on former President Donald Trump by the New York judge overseeing Trump's HUD money case. The gag order prevents the former president from making any public statements about individuals taking part in the trial, including witnesses, prosecutors, and court staff plus family members. The trial is set to start April 15th. Down south, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has finally reached a deal after facing security fraud charges that have shadowed the AG for 9 years. Paxton has agreed to pay nearly $300,000 in restitution for the charges to be dropped. The Attorney General was set to stand trial over accusations of deceiving investors in a tech startup that could have led to prison time. The body of University of Missouri student Riley Strain has been found after the 22-year-old disappeared on a spring formal trip in Nashville, Tennessee. According to the police, the autopsy did not find foul play-related trauma, but they are still waiting on further examination. Emily, Noah, back to you.
Thanks, Brooke. A panel of British judges decided today that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange cannot be immediately extradited to the U.S. CNN's Nada Bashir has more from London.
Now, the High Court in London on Tuesday ruled that the WikiLeaks founder cannot be immediately extradited to the United States. Instead, American authorities must first offer assurances about his treatment, including over his First Amendment rights and protection from the death penalty. Now, they've been given 3 weeks to do so. If the US fails to give these assurances, Assange would be allowed to appeal his extradition at a further hearing in May. If, however, the US does provide the requested assurances, there will be a further hearing to decide if those assurances are satisfactory and to make a final decision on leave to appeal. Now, in the event that the appeal is denied, Assange's legal team has also vowed to appeal to the European Court of Human Rights, which could also halt his removal to the US. This is a battle which Assange has fought for the last 5 years from London's Belmarsh prison, and of course for 7 years before that, while being hauled up as a political refugee at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He is of course being pursued by the US authorities for what they say is the endangerment of lives by publishing confidential military records supplied by former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning in 2010 and 2011. Speaking outside the High Court, Assange's wife, Stella, described her husband as a political prisoner and also called on the Biden administration to drop the case entirely. Nada Bashir, CNN in London.
If the U.S. files necessary documents, another hearing will be held on May 20th.
Well, if you're on the lookout for alternative low-waste options for household necessities, OU Nightly's Darian Curry takes a look at a local shop that has just that.
Those who want to make a sustainable impact often feel like they have to spend a pretty penny to do so, and college students who want to help out feel limited. However, Resupply owner Casey Scherler has ideas on how students can do their part.
I think one way that college students can get involved is by sort of partnering with other people in their dorm or their roommates and purchasing certain products that you do need together. So, everyone needs laundry detergent. So instead of you and your roommate bringing your own jars into Resupply, why don't you just split a big jar of laundry detergent?
It's always possible to make an impact no matter what. OU student and employee Scout explains how.
Here, when you buy things in bulk, lots of the time it's going to be cheaper than if you bought just like conventional, non-organic ingredients at other stores because since it is bulk, we get wholesale prices, so it's cheaper.
They also accept container donations so they can be reused and not go to the landfill.
We love jar donations. We just ask that they're free of labels or any lingering smells. We'll wash and sanitize them again once they're here, but we love that community donation aspect.
For Scout, Resupply was a huge reason she chose OU.
When I came up to tour University of Oklahoma the summer before my senior year, I made sure that we stopped by here, Resupply, and I loved it and I thought it was so cool.
Check out Resupply on Porter in Maine or inside Sailor in the Dock in Oklahoma City if you'd like to try a different, more eco-friendly style of shopping. Reporting for OU Nightly, I'm Darian Curry.
Thanks, Darian. They also have a third store in Wichita Falls, and they sell food from their farm at the nearby Norman and Oklahoma City locations. And coming up, a pup who is full of life could be your new best friend. Pet of the Week is right after the break.
Also, how the university is prioritizing the mental health of students. How you can get involved next. There are plenty of furry friends needing a possum adoption this week. OU Nightly's Abigail Franklin has this week's Pet of the Week.
13 dogs were adopted over the weekend, but Norman Animal Welfare still has plenty of dogs that are needing their forever home. And this week, we're meeting Jasper. This Catahoula mix is standing at a youthful 1.5 years old and ready for his forever home.
Jasper has never met a stranger. He loves everything and everybody, and he's gonna meet them all with that energy of just, I'm so happy to be here and be with you.
Jasper is full of energy and curiosity.
Got a lot of energy, just a playful guy that just seems to have a lust for life.
With an all-around good boy personality, for Jasper, any home is a good home.
He's one of those dogs that would be good for a variety of homes. As long as the people there can exercise him and give him outlets for this boisterous energy, he's just going to be one of those that fits into a wide variety of homes. Yeah. That was extra.
On top of his wonderful personality and the training he received here from Norman Animal Welfare, Jasper's adoption fee is waived. So if you're interested, feel free to come on down and pick him up because he's ready for his new home. Reporting for OU Nightly, Abigail Franklin.
If you or someone you know is interested in Jasper or any of the other pets from Norman Animal Welfare, you can contact them with any of the options available on your screen. It's never too late to help a pet in need.
And with students back on campus after spring break, OU is giving them the tools they need to stay healthy. Students met with organizations from Goddard Health Services to Fit and Rec and the OU Food Pantry at the Wellness Fair. The event in Wagner Hall included activities, snacks, and prizes. The goal is to help students prioritize their well-being heading into the second half of the semester.
We're at the end of the semester whenever your mental health might be struggling, you have all these papers due, and we want you to make healthy choices like maybe go for a walk or talk to a friend or go to counseling.
The fair kicks off a series of wellness-focused events called Wellness at Wagner.
Well, still to come, Boeing is making headlines once again.
This time for a major shift in leadership. We'll tell you the details up next.
Chances this weekend. We'll take a look at that coming up. Well, we woke up this morning on the colder side of it. Thankfully, though, warmed up just a little bit here in Norman. Currently 50 degrees, dew point and humidity pretty low, and unfortunately, that is keeping up with our allergy report. I myself woke up with a stuffy nose this morning. Trees at high level, mostly because of the oak trees, mold and grass, mold at medium and grass at low. Now, unfortunately, these are going to stick around for a little bit, as well as the cold. You can see air mass forecast tonight. Cold air sitting on the northern half of the United States. It's going to make its way further south tonight. Want to hit freezing or pretty close to freezing again tonight. That will make its way on out for us Thursday. You can see low pressure starting to build out by Washington State. As we move further into the week, warmer air will come up from the south. That low pressure will drop further south towards California. And as it moves its way on over here, temperatures will push back up towards the 80s. And as it moves closer towards us here in central Oklahoma, we do have a precipitation chance for Monday, but we'll take a look at that later this week, I should say, as we get closer to that event. And then unfortunately, that cold air will start to build back in as that low pressure moves on through here in Oklahoma. So let's take a look at your Wednesday. Going to start off pretty chilly, like I said, low 30s. Push your way up through the 40s. Going to top out in the mid 50s. So again, a pretty cold day, but hopefully a little bit better as winds will drop. Now, on top of all this, we do have a precipitation chance tonight. As I said, you can see late tonight, storms will start along the western half of the state. You can see some wintry precip further towards the northwestern portion. Here in the central in Norman and Oklahoma City, we should just see rain. Probably pretty cold outside, but just rain, thankfully, no precip. And any wintry precip that does drop will be pretty insubstantial and minimal. It shouldn't have any risk of travel. So you can see clouds will move their way on out for our Thursday. Would be pretty nice for our Thursday. Lows tonight here, central Oklahoma, mid 30s. Out in Guyman, still pretty cold at 23. Another hard freeze tonight. And hopefully, it'll stay that way as our last freeze for quite a while, but of course this is Oklahoma. We'll have a day of spring and then right back to cold. So 54 for your Wednesday, 20% chance of rain as it moves its way on through the state of Oklahoma. And as we move in towards our Easter weekend, it's going to be pretty nice temperatures back up toward 85 degrees. So really a whole lot of everything. Thankfully, we just got out of spring break though. What'd you guys do? Anything fun?
Yeah, I actually went to Colorado Springs, so I'm coming back to some very different weather here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I took a short trip to Texas, so this is definitely different, but thank you so much, Sam. Now, Boeing's CEO has stated he will leave the company by the end of this year. The Federal Aviation Administration says it's increasing its presence in United Airlines operations amid rising in-flight safety incidents. Problems have plagued Boeing for the past 5 years, including 2 fatal crashes that killed hundreds of people and a door plug coming off, leaving a hole in the side of the plane. The problems have led to multiple groundings for safety issues and more than $31 billion in losses. Well, OU women's basketball dropped a heartbreaker on the hardwood.
But 2 Baranchek's ballers are in the running for becoming All-Americans.
And over on the diamond, another Sooner stud is hitting homers and honors. I'll have more on how OU softball continues to dominate the Big 12 coming up in sports. Hello, I'm Kaylee Jo Hommel, and it's time for sports. The second round slump strikes again for OU women's basketball. OU Nightly's Melina Samir was in Indiana with how the Sooners feel about their season.
A not-so-sweet ending. The season has drawn to a close for Oklahoma women's basketball as they fall to Indiana Monday night, 75-68. This marks the 6th straight second-round loss and 3rd under head coach Jenny Baranchek. While the outcome did not play in their favor, the Sooners look back at a year of growth.
I think we've matured and we've come more connected, and we're a really connected team. We love each other genuinely, not just as teammates, but as sisters, and this is a family, honestly.
It kind of says a lot. It says that we kind of changed our entire season around. It just didn't turn out the way we wanted. We just got to keep putting in more work for next season. My mindset is to get better, be more crafty, and be more confident in my game. So when this time comes around, we'll be ready to get over the hump.
This team's amazing. It's a great team. I think it's just hard ending it like this. Like you said, like from the beginning of conference to now, like there was a time like we didn't even think we could get into the tournament. So I think being able to get here, be a 5 seed, be able to perform on that stage tonight. I mean, we just couldn't hit shots at the end of the game, and that's it. I mean, in that kind of situation, that kind of environment is just really hard.
While the Sooners put away their dancing shoes for now, the future just means more for the Crimson and Cream as they move into the SEC next season. Reporting from Bloomington, Indiana, Melina Samir, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Melina. Well, the madness may be over, but OU women's basketball is still scoring big. Skylar Vann and Peyton Verhulst are All-American finalists. The Women's Basketball Coaches Association announced the honor today, with the winners to be named April 4th. And is it really spring if OU softball isn't making headlines? Alina Torres is Big 12 Player of the Week after dominating at the plate. The senior notched 4 home runs and 10 RBIs this past week. Under head coach Patty Gasso, OU has earned 109 of these honors. And the homers at home don't end there, as OU baseball continues an 8-game homestand. In store for the Sooners, a midweek matchup against Oral Roberts tonight at 6:30 p.m. Oklahoma sits at 2nd in the Big 12 and have won 9 of their last 12. Emily, Noah.
Thanks, Kaylee Jo. Coming up, the OKC Zoo unveils a new addition to the park.
We'll give you a look inside the new exhibit after the break.
With an update on the collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge. Authorities just shared an update saying the focus remains to find the 6 missing people. One person who was taken to the hospital after the collapse was released from the Maryland Medical Center. Lawmakers say this disaster will have a serious impact on the economy and many jobs will be in jeopardy. Noah, Emily.
Thanks, Allison. Over 60 species native to Africa are set to inhabit the Oklahoma City Zoo's new expansion of its Expedition Africa habitat. The grand opening took place today and extends over 12 acres, making this the largest expansion the OKC Zoo has ever had.
The zoo made renovations to the Pachyderm building, revamping the interior and adding a play area with rock climbing behind the building.
Well, I certainly hope to be checking it out soon, but it's not quite zoo temperatures right now.
On that note, we'll get back to Sam Patterson with another look at the weather.
We just got one more day, and then this weekend you can absolutely go to the zoo. Temperatures in the 80s for our weekend should be pretty nice.
Well, thanks, Sam, and thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Emily Faith.
And I'm Noah Mack. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.